Hi guys, welcome back to the Hugh Jeffreys video. In this video, I'm going to be restoring this LG G6, which was given to me for free from somebody I know. A local repair shop called this phone Cactus, meaning they deemed it unrepairable. So the customer purchased a new phone and gave me this LG G6. In its current state, the back is shattered and the front glass also has a few cracks. However, the phone does still power on and I was able to charge up the device, and although I couldn't actually navigate through the phone, given that the screen only shows a number of lines as well as occasionally ghosting, but I was able to get it to display a picture, although the touch function of the phone didn't work, as you can see here. I also managed to get into the camera app with the volume button shortcut, but I wasn't able to use the phone given the broken touch. So to fix this LG G6, the first thing I'm going to do is remove the old back glass, which you can see is extremely shattered. Now to do that, all I had to do was heat up the back of the phone with a hot air station, and then I was able to insert a pry tool and lift up the back glass. Now this came off extremely easy given two things. The phone has been previously opened and the back glass had just been reinstalled without new adhesive. With the back off, you can see all of the dust and dirt that's accumulated inside the phone, and I also noticed one of the screws holding in the plastic frame wasn't screwed all the way in. Either way, I can remove all of the screws on the plastic frame of the phone, located up the top as well as down by the dock connector. With all those screws removed, I can insert a spudger and begin prying away at the plastic on the phone. You can see that it's clipped in, so with a little bit of force, everything unclips and falls right out. With the top portion removed, it's a good idea to disconnect the battery, just to make sure that I don't damage anything electronic. Then I can remove the speaker from the bottom of the phone. Next, I can install the replacement display I will be using on the phone to verify that this phone actually works. As you can see, it lit up and I was able to test out the phone real quick off camera, and now it's time to continue refurbishing the phone. Along with a new screen, I'll be installing a new frame, new battery, and new back glass. I will also be making this phone all black, as the current phone is a little bit of a mix and match of both black and silver, given this phone would have been originally colored silver. Now I was unable to buy a silver colored display and frame, so black it was, and I could prep that new frame with some adhesive that I cut off of a roll because it didn't come with any, and also install two new black colored buttons on the side. With those now installed, I can move back across to the LG G6 phone in the old frame and begin to remove the motherboard of the phone. I also noticed at this point that the SIM tray was snapped off inside of the phone, so I'll need to take a look at that later on. With the motherboard removed, I'm going to attempt to remove the old broken off SIM card tray bit from the phone. Now if I couldn't remove this, then this phone would never be able to be used as a phone, so that would kind of defeat the point of the video. Of course, I got the bit out quite easily, and it turns out the previous owner actually used the phone like this for quite some time. I could then remove the USB-C connector from the bottom, which will allow me access to take off the front screen. Now I'll talk a little bit about why I have to do that with this frame, but for now I'll just need to remove a heap of other little components from the old frame and begin transferring them across to the new frame, which is looking a lot nicer in condition. I also removed the battery from the old frame, which I'll use to test out the phone later on before I install the new one. Moving along, for the last thing to remove is the earpiece, which you can see was quite dirty. Now I have to take the front panel off by heating it up and inserting a pry tool at the bottom of the phone to allow for a gap, which I can then insert a pick to fully remove the adhesive from the edges of the display. Now I had to remove this panel because the new screen didn't come with the correct earpiece grill up the top. So having removed the display, you can see that it now gives me access to remove that grill. I can clean it up and install it on the new frame. Now I can remove all of the protective film off of the adhesive so I can stick down the new screen. It was at this point I decided to install two adhesive strips underneath the display, as I wasn't satisfied that the screen would stay put given such little adhesive on the sides of the phone. Now, I did purchase a refurbished display for this LG G6, which means it's been previously cracked and has had a new piece of glass installed on the top. After purchasing this, I did realize that LG actually is nice enough to sell you all of the replacement parts that you're going to need, like a screen or a battery or something like that. So that's a really nice thing to know, that LG and many companies like that, including Samsung, will sell you replacement parts to fix your phone or your washing machine or whatever you have. So I think that's really awesome, although I didn't realize that before I went out and purchased mine. They tend to be a little bit more expensive, but at least you know you're going to be getting the best quality for your smartphone. Now, with the screen glued in and held in place, I can install a heap of the little small components like the earpiece and vibrate motor before I can reinstall the motherboard and install the old battery, just to test out that the phone and the screen is working. As you can see, the phone is booting up, so I can continue on with the repair. Removing the motherboard from the phone once again, I'm going to use some cleaning alcohol to clean up the old crusty thermal paste to make way for some new thermal paste, which I'll install on the heat pipe inside the phone. Moving along, I can install the USB-C connector back inside the phone, which clips into place. After that, I can finally install the motherboard back into the phone, making sure the cables are routed around it and connect them back up into the phone. I can reinstall the front-facing camera, give the inside of the phone a clean to make sure to remove any fingerprints or adhesive. I also applied some cleaning alcohol to the speaker assembly and other plastic pieces to remove any adhesive left on these pieces before I installed the back glass. I also installed some battery strips which will hold down the new battery. Speaking of a new battery, here is one now. I can install that into the phone and then making sure that is stuck down correctly. And finally, I can install the plastic retaining bracket for the motherboard of the phone. Then I can install the only screws in the phone which hold the entire phone together, and everything else is literally just modular and clipped in place. With that done, it's time to move across to the more attention to detail pieces, and that is removing the IMEI sticker and installing that on the new back glass, along with this little QR code and also this little piece of plastic. Not quite sure what that does. I believe it's something to do with holding the battery in place. But either way, now that that's done, I can install the new back glass, which already has the power button, fingerprint reader, and camera lens already installed on it. With the adhesive removed, I can stick it to the frame of the phone and begin removing the plastic films from both the back of the LG G6 and the front panel, which I will be purchasing a tempered glass screen protector to go on here. But for now, removing the plastic film from the LG G6 logo completes the restoration. So this is the free LG G6, which I've spent about $60 Australian on this phone to bring it back into brand new condition with a new back panel, new battery, new frame, and new display. Now, while you could get away with just putting a new screen on this and getting the phone up and running, of course I wanted to bring this thing back into brand new condition, which is what I'm all about here, and you can see the difference between the two of the old versus the restored LG G6. In terms of repairability, this phone is very repairable, except for, of course, the back glass being glued on. It's an added bonus that you can buy replacement parts directly from LG themselves, although I didn't go about that in this video because I wasn't aware of it until I had already ordered the parts for this video. And with a heap of easy to replace modular parts, this phone also still has a working fingerprint reader, even though I replaced it with a brand new one. And speaking of software, this is running Android 8.0, and I have enabled the dark mode theme because this looks killer with the black design of the LG G6. Now, as I've always wanted to own an LG G6, I will be switching across from my Samsung Galaxy S8 to the G6 for a couple of days just to test out and get a good feel for the phone itself. And on that note, this has been a Hugh Jeffreys video. If you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button and consider checking out the phone restoration playlist for more videos just like this one. I'm going to be doing many more Android restorations. I even have a Google Pixel 3 coming up, as well as many more iPhone restorations as well. Also, make sure to follow me on my social media, link for which is down in the description. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.